Question 242. The basic service tier is automatically enabled for free as part of your Azure subscription. And the options are A. Yes, B. No, and the correct answer is option A. Yes. Explanation. A distributed denial of service attack attempts to overwhelm and exhaust an application's resources, making the application slow or unresponsive to legitimate users. DDoS attacks can target any resource that's publicly reachable through the internet, including websites. What is Azure DDoS protection? Azure DDoS protection helps protect your Azure resources from DDoS attacks. When you combine DDoS protection with recommended application design practices, you help provide a defense against DDoS attacks. DDoS protection uses the scale and elasticity of Microsoft's global network to bring DDoS mitigation capacity to every Azure region. The DDoS protection service helps protect your Azure applications by analyzing and discarding DDoS traffic at the Azure network edge before it can affect your service availability. This diagram shows network traffic falling into Azure from both customers and an attacker. What service tiers are available to DDoS protection? DDoS protection provides these service tiers. Basic. The basic service tier is automatically enabled for free as part of your Azure subscription. Always on traffic monitoring and real-time mitigation of common network level attacks provide the same defenses that Microsoft's online services use. The basic service tier ensures that Azure infrastructure itself is not affected during a large-scale DDoS attack. The Azure global network is used to distribute and mitigate attack traffic across Azure regions. Standard. The standard service tier provides additional mitigation capabilities that are tuned specifically to Azure Virtual Network resources. DDoS protection standard is relatively easy to enable and requires no changes to your applications. The standard tier provides always-on traffic monitoring and real-time mitigation of common network-level attacks. It provides the same defenses that Microsoft's online services use. Protection policies are tuned through dedicated traffic monitoring and machine learning algorithms. Policies are applied to public IP addresses, which are associated with resources deployed in virtual networks, such as Azure Load Balancer and Application Gateway. The Azure Global Network is used to distribute and mitigate attack traffic across Azure regions. Next question. A company wants to deploy a set of Azure virtual machines and wants to understand their pricing. Which two of the following affect virtual machine cost in Azure? And the options are A. The size of the virtual machine. B. The region the virtual machine is located in. C. The virtual network the VM belongs to. D. The resource group the VM belongs to. And the correct answer is option A. The size of the virtual machine, and B. The region the virtual machine is located in. Explanation. From the Azure pricing calculator, we can see that Next question. You own a streaming service website and notice extremely high spikes in traffic whenever a new movie is launched on your platform. However, during the rest of the month, you experience moderate traffic. Which of the following benefits does having your website hosted on Azure provide you given this scenario? And the options are A. Fault tolerance, B. High latency, C. Elasticity, D. Load balancing, and the correct answer is option C. Elasticity. Explanation. Elasticity in this case is the ability to provide additional compute resource when needed and reduce the compute resource when not needed to reduce cost. Auto-scaling is an example of elasticity. Here, you don't need to provision a lot of resources in advance. You'll incur cost by allocating more resources only when demand increases. Elastic computing is the ability to quickly expand or decrease computer processing, memory and storage resources to meet changing demands without worrying about capacity planning and engineering for peak uses. Typically controlled by system monitoring tools, elastic computing matches the amount of resources allocated to the amount of resources actually needed without disrupting operations. With cloud elasticity, a company avoids paying for unused capacity or idle resources and doesn't have to worry about investing in the purchase or maintenance of additional resources and equipment. Next question. Data that is stored in the archive access tier of an Azure storage account dash, and the options are: A. Can only be read by using Azure Instant Access. B. Must be recovered before the data can be accessed. C. Must be rehydrated before the data can be accessed. D. Must be requested from Azure by calling the helpline. And the correct answer is option C. Must be rehydrated before the data can be accessed. Explanation. Azure Storage offers different access tiers: hot, cool, and archive. The archive access tier has the lowest storage cost, but it has higher data retrieval cost compared to the hot and cool tiers. Data in the archive tier can take several hours to retrieve. While a blob is in archive storage, the blob data is offline and can't be read, overwritten, or modified. To read or download a blob in archive, you must first rehydrate it to an online tier. Example user scenarios for the archive access tier include long-term backup, secondary backup, and archival datasets. Original raw data that must be preserved even after it has been processed into final usable form. Compliance and archival data that needs to be stored for a long time and is hardly ever accessed. Next question. If you want to keep tabs on Azure itself, especially the services and regions you depend on, you should choose dash. And the options are: A. Azure Monitor, B. Azure Advisor, C. Azure Arc, D. Azure Service Health, and the correct answer is option D. Azure Service Health. Explanation. If you want to keep tabs on Azure itself, especially the services and regions you depend on, you want to choose Azure Service Health. You can view the current status of the Azure services you rely on, upcoming planned outages, and services that will be sunset. You can set up alerts that help you stay on top of incidents and upcoming downtime without having to visit the dashboard regularly. However, if you want to keep track of the performance or issues related to your specific VM or container instances, databases, your applications, and so on, you want to visit Azure Monitor and create reports and notifications to help you understand how your services are performing or diagnose issues related to your Azure uses. Next question. When a company thinks of migrating to the public cloud like Azure, which of the following expenses gets reduced? And the options are: A. Capital expense, B. Operational expense, C. Primary expense, D. Secondary expense, and the correct answer is option A. Capital expense. Explanation. Migrating to the public cloud saves a lot of capex upfront, and one of the biggest advantages is the ability to pay as you go. Next question. Which of the following can you use to estimate the cost savings you can get by migrating your workloads to Azure? And the options are: A. Azure TCO calculator, B. Azure pricing calculator, C. Azure cost management, D. Azure advisor. And the correct answer is option A. Azure TCO calculator. Explanation. Azure total cost of ownership calculator helps you estimate the cost savings you can realize by migrating your workloads to Azure. Next question. Which of the following can you use to track resource uses and manage costs across all of your clouds with a single unified view? And the options are: A. Azure pricing calculator, B. Azure cost management plus billing, C. Azure trust center, D. Azure monitor. And the correct answer is option B. Azure cost management plus billing. Explanation. The following depicts the single unified view to track resource uses as well as manage cost. Next question. You have to run business critical workloads using Azure virtual machines, SQL databases, Data Explorer, and blob storage for the next 3 years. Which of the following would provide the most cost savings? And the options are A. By purchasing reservations. B. By using resources judiciously. C. Using a pay-as-you-go subscription. D. Stopping the virtual machines every night. And the correct answer is option A. By purchasing reservations. Explanation. Azure reservations help you save money by committing to 1 year or 3 years plans for multiple products. Committing allows you to get a discount on the resources you use. Reservations can significantly reduce your resource cost by up to 72% from pay-as-you-go prices. Reservations provide a billing discount and don't affect the runtime state of your resources. After you purchase a reservation, the discount automatically applies to matching resources. You can pay for a reservation upfront or monthly. The total cost of upfront and monthly reservations is the same, and you don't pay any extra fees when you choose to pay monthly. Monthly payment is available for Azure reservations, not third-party products. Why buy a reservation? If you have consistent resource uses that supports reservations, buying a reservation gives you the option to reduce your cost. For example, when you continuously run instances of a service without a reservation, you are charged at pay-as-you-go rates. When you buy a reservation, you immediately get the reservation discount. The resources are no longer charged at the pay-as-you-go rates. Next question. Which of the following is a private connection from your on-premises infrastructure to your Azure infrastructure, wherein the data does not travel through the internet? And the options are A. Azure Arc, B. Azure ExpressRoute, C. Azure VPN Gateway, D. Azure DNS. And the correct answer is option B. Azure ExpressRoute. Explanation. With ExpressRoute, your data doesn't travel over the public internet, so it's not exposed to the potential risk associated with internet communications. ExpressRoute is a private connection from your on-premises infrastructure to your Azure infrastructure. However, even if you have an ExpressRoute connection, DNS queries, certificate revocation list checking, and Azure Content Delivery Network requests are still sent over the public internet. Next question. Upon creating a new virtual machine in Azure, will you be billed separately for its local disk storage? Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's no. Explanation. All new virtual machines have an operating system disk and a local disk or resource disk. Azure doesn't charge for local disk storage. The operating system disk is charged at the standard rate for disk. See all virtual machine configurations. Next question. If your workload can tolerate interruptions and its execution time is flexible, which of the following pricing plans would be best suited to save cost? And the options are A. Pay as you go, B. Reserved instances, C. Spot pricing, D. Dedicated host. And the correct answer is option C. Spot pricing. Explanation. From the official Azure website. Next question. A startup has deployed a set of virtual machines which are critical for their day-to-day operations. They need to ensure their availability even if a single data center goes down, and in turn has suggested that deploying the virtual machines to 2 or more skill sets will solve the problem. Is this suggestion correct? Is it yes or no? And the answer is it's no. Explanation. This answer doesn't specify that the skill set will be configured across multiple data centers, so this solution does not meet the goal. For this question, deploying the VMS to multiple data centers or availability zones would make more sense. From the official Azure documentation, Azure Virtual Machine Scale Sets let you create and manage a group of load-balanced VMS. The number of VM instances can automatically increase or decrease in response to demand or a high-defined schedule. Skill sets provide high availability to your applications and allow you to centrally manage, configure, and update many VMS. Virtual machines in a skill set can be deployed across multiple update domains and fault domains to maximize availability and resilience to outages due to data center outages and plant or unplanned maintenance events. Next question. Your company plans to migrate all on-premises data to Azure. However, before this, the legal department has asked you to fetch all information such as audit and compliance reports to identify whether Azure complies with the company's regional requirements. Which of the following can help with this? And the options are A. Knowledge Center, B. Azure Marketplace, C. The Azure Portal, D. The Trust Center. And the correct answer is option D. The Trust Center. Explanation. You can use the Trust Center to check the audit and compliance requirements. Next question. Unlike RBAC, Azure Policy is a default allow and explicit deny system. Is it yes or no? And the correct answer is it's yes. Explanation. A few key differences between Azure Policy and RBAC exist. RBAC focuses on user actions at different scopes. You might be added to the contributor role for a resource group, allowing you to make changes to that resource group. Azure Policy focuses on resource properties during deployment and for already existing resources. Azure Policy controls properties such as the types or locations of resources. Unlike RBAC, Azure Policy is a default allow and explicit deny system. RBAC and policies in Azure play a vital role in a governance strategy. While different, they both work together to ensure organizational business rules are followed, be ensuring proper access and resource creation guidelines are met. Thank you for watching this video. Buy our AZ 900 premium questions with 50% off. Check link in the description.